It is Monday, February 3rd, 2020. I'm Ella V, and these are the Cryptosphere's top stories for today. Asian stock markets take a deep dive following the extended New Year's break. What, if anything, does this spell for Bitcoin? Twitter embraces Bitcoin with a new emoji that has the sphere on fire. And later, Chapter 1 of our new series, The Race to the CBDC. Asian markets reopened Monday, showing sharp drops amid fears of the spread of the deadly coronavirus, which has claimed at least 361 lives in China, infected more than 17,000, and forced a shutdown of many of its major cities. Now, meanwhile, the price of Bitcoin has been trading sideways. Asher Westrup-Evans is here with the latest financial developments. Asher, Chinese stock markets seem to be crashing. The United States markets, not so much, one could argue. What stands behind that?
Well, I mean, we're yet to see them open for this week, so we're basing this on futures reporting that we're seeing, which you're right, Yael, they're not seeing those steep declines. What we saw come out of China was, to say the least, shocking. They actually got all the way down. They dropped around 9% on the day at their peak. We're talking about the Shanghai Composite here, which, an interesting fact about China, they're actually not allowed to drop further than that. The government puts enforced sell-off limits when it hits 9%. So it's not that it hit
Shocking.
9 and then that's where it stopped. It could have kept going further. There was a slight recovery in afternoon trading. They ended the day around 7% lower than they opened. Still a pretty massive sell-off given these, but unsurprising perhaps given the markets have been closed, and obviously China is the epicenter of this concern. Dealing with the US markets, however, we saw that steep sell-off on Friday. As we said, futures indicate a slight downturn on the start of the week, but nothing like we've seen so dramatically out of China so far. But we'll have to wait to see how that
We'll have to wait and
out.
see. Just wondering then with you, because we are taping this indeed before the U.S. markets are opening. Are we expecting to see a reaction?
Look,
are people theorizing that?
I think there could be. I mean, obviously you don't see Asian markets drop like that without seeing a counterbalanced U.S. market. But that being said, because the Chinese mainland markets were closed for so long, maybe this is just them playing catch up, and maybe that will already have been priced in US markets. But again, we'll have to see how this week plays out. It's a dramatic week in the US regardless, so interesting to see. To
say the least. Now, when it comes to Bitcoin, what is it doing, and why is it doing well?
All right, so I mean, Bitcoin had an interesting when around the time Asian markets opened, we saw Bitcoin take a dramatic pump then dump, I guess no other term for it, but the industry insider term. It's since leveled back out, hovering around the 9,300 mark where it's been for the last several days, not really taking a really steep action, which many see as surprising given the fact that we have seen Bitcoin climb so steadily on the back of many of these coronavirus fears, or at least correlated to those fears. So again, Bitcoin, other than that dramatic pump or dump experience that took it up to 9.5 and down to around 9.2 in the space of around an hour or so, it's pretty staggering. But for now, calm has re-entered the market.
Technical analysts have an opinion about that?
Or remain to be seen what exactly went on there. I mean, obviously those things can be attributed to a particular whale freaking out or pumping into the market or pumping out. But our Joe Saz took a look and gave us some reports. Yes.
As long as all we're getting are shakeouts and then a return to a nice reasonable price area like the mid 9,000s, 9,400. That's great to me. So I remain bullish, and my target remains 9,800. Hopefully, I'm hoping, I might be very optimistic here, but I'm hoping that we break 10K this week.
Never mind mass adoption, Bitcoin just got its own emoji. Over the weekend, the social media giant that is Twitter announced the senior cryptocurrency was receiving a hash flag of its own, with CEO Jack Dorsey even using it to prompt the Unicode text encoding standard to adopt it as well. Now, to mark the event, Yona Hochhauser looked into the history of the Bitcoin logo. Let's have a look.
Bitcoin reached a new milestone on February 2nd. It was the day Twitter's Jack Dorsey announced a retweet that whenever the BTC or Bitcoin hashtag is tweeted, Twitter will automatically add the Bitcoin logo emoji next to the hashtag. But where did the Bitcoin logo even come from? Who makes the branding decisions for a decentralized currency? The first ever Bitcoin logo was put forth by the Bitcoin creator himself, Satoshi Nakamoto, in January 2009 that showed a BC on a gold coin. Satoshi further updated the logo a year later in February 2010 when he dropped the C and just sewed the B with two lines through it that we are familiar with today. However, some were concerned that the B looked too closely to the Thai baht symbol. Then, an anonymous user by the handle of BitBoy posted his vision of the Bitcoin logo. His was orange, flat, and slanted. It was the logo that would forever be tied to Bitcoin. While nearly everyone is able to identify the coin behind the logo, it's fitting that no one as of yet knows the identity of the creator behind it all. Yona Hockhauser, BLOCKTV.
And Yona Hochhauser joins us now in studio. Wonderful emoji. Is it good for business?
Is it good for business? Well, in terms of Bitcoin price, it hasn't affected it at all as of yet. In terms of Twitter, so Jack Dorsey's tweet that actually announced this whole hash flag actually did quite well. Got 725 replies, 2.3 thousand retweets, and 8,500 likes. Some big names were part of that replying. The Pomp, Anthony Pompliano, CZ's Binance. Also, I mean, of course, whenever any big name mentions Bitcoin, all the Bitcoiners quickly jump on it and they try to get their voices heard. If you're talking about raw numbers, though, the hashtag Bitcoin actually jumped all the way up to number 18th trending in the world. Since then has fallen out because of the Super Bowl. Everything is now Super Bowl hashtags.
J-Lo,
But in general, Bitcoin is nowhere near number 18. So that was a quick bump or right there. I don't think it will last, but it did give it a little pump right there.
One can argue this. I'm sure many people Google the word Bitcoin to see what the heck this whole thing is about.
Exactly. And now you could also search it on Twitter.
Exactly. Yona Hochhauser, thank you for this report. With the growing popularity of Bitcoin futures on the CME and backed platforms, are Ethereum futures next? In a recent interview to Bloomberg, CFTC Chairman Heath Tarbert suggested this might be the case as part of his agency's effort to keep the United States ahead of the global market.
The CFTC, I've said, I really think not only in the digital assets themselves, but in that underlying blockchain technology. Kevin, I want the United States of America to lead in this. So I want to encourage innovation. And it's interesting because commodities are what we regulate, particularly derivatives on commodities.
We were just talking about, yeah.
Exactly. But right now, the two biggest types of digital assets, Bitcoin and Ether, actually fall within our jurisdiction. So we are doing a lot in the digital asset space. We are seeing exchanges starting to list. Certainly we've seen Bitcoin futures, both cash settled as well as physically delivered. My guess is we're going to see Ether futures as well. And as things start to migrate into the commodity space, we'll see even more.
Well, never mind Ethereum futures. If you're an avid Minecraft player and a Cryptosphere supporter, your life just became complete. You can now stash Satoshis while on the hunt. Confused? As am I. Therefore, BLOCKTV's resident gamer and reporter is here to explain. Zaki, what is this all about?
Put simply, Yael, Minecraft modder Bitcoin Jake 09 has developed a mod for the game that allows players to engage in a Hunger Games style battle royale showdown. But instead of the goal being to be the last person standing, players are tasked with locating a hidden treasure somewhere on the server. Now, every life in the server costs $1 in Bitcoin, meaning that death just means you'll have to buy in again, and that buy-in will add to the pot. And this is going to contribute to a kind of a very exciting environment of an ever-growing pot while people run around racing to find this hidden treasure. And we'll only see how popular this mod gets from here on out.
Amen to that. Zaki Hennessy, thank you for this report. It is a new decade with a new financial agenda, and although the United States keeps claiming it is not in any hurry to launch a digital dollar, the rest of the world does not seem to be waiting. Top global central banks are scrambling to launch their state-backed digital currencies from Asia to Europe to the Americas, and so today we introduce a special Around the Block series, The Race to the CBDC. It is no secret that China set the pace with its promise of a digital yuan, threatening a launch sometime in 2020. And so today we start with a focus on where the strongest player is in this race. Here's senior correspondent Usher Westrup-Evans with a closer look.
China is winning the race for a central bank digital currency. Since the public announcement of the Libra project on June 18, 2019, China has been on the front foot, coming out with its own declaration that the country has been exploring blockchain technology since 2014.
I think the Libra is actually a key driver of the US and China's regulators to be serious about cryptocurrency. And yes, this will be a trigger point.
The People's Bank of China claims it has committed significant resources to the project, with approximately 1,000 staff at the Digital Money Institute working on getting the CBDC live across the country. The country is set to increase the yearly spending amount on blockchain technology and is planned to exceed $2 billion in 2023, according to market intelligence firm IDC.
But what does a Chinese CBDC look like? Reports coming from Binance back in late August, based on details provided by PBOC-related entities, say that the digital currency would be based on a two-tier system. On the first layer, the PBOC would issue and redeem China's CBDC via commercial banks. But on the second layer, the commercial banks would be responsible for redistributing the CBDC to retail market participants. Yet on this second layer, the use of blockchain remains undecided.
We should look at this development in a digital way, not in a crypto way. As PBOC also mentioned that the technology roadmap is not decided yet.
This project took on a renewed pace when Chinese President Xi Jinping emphasized the development of blockchain technology and called for more research, investment, and regulations for it on October 24th, stating that blockchain plays a core role in the next round of technological innovation and industrial transformation.
I think the narrative is quite competitive, I would say, and so it's like all about China being the leader.
So it appears China is determined to be the leader in this race to a CBDC, eager to strike a first mover advantage. Asher Westrop-Evans for BLOCKTV.
Senior correspondent Asher Westrop-Evans joins us in studio right now. To begin with, Asher, you know, it was clear at the end of 2019 that China would be the first to launch it. They've promised to do it somewhere in the beginning of 2020. Do you think that all we're hearing right now with the coronavirus and with all the effects it has on the Chinese markets, will that stand in the way of the issuance?
Look, certainly that's standing in the way, I think, of Chinese growth as a whole at the moment. That being said, in terms of the People's Bank of China's work, based out of Beijing, they're not necessarily going to be as affected. So far, Beijing has remained relatively isolated from the worst impact of the coronavirus. But as I say, with so many resources being diverted to dealing with this ever-growing threat of pandemic, I think obviously that would slow down any government project that's still sort of not seen as a number one instant priority. And with the pullback of Libra and the sort of seeming delay that that's going to take, I don't think the Chinese are in as much of a rush.
No, very true about that. That said, let's say they are indeed going to do what we predict and be the first ones to issue it. What do they win?
Look, yeah, they stand to win a considerable amount. What I alluded to there in my report, the first mover advantage is incredible. And when you talk about a country like China, everyone across the sphere recognizes that this could be a big move, including even the likes of Roger Ver, who we spoke to recently on BLOCKTV, and we can hear what he had to say.
I think China as a whole is likely to take the lead on everything. I mean, it's the most populous country in the entire world with 1.something billion people over there, so they can get a lot done. And even we're seeing on our own local.bitcoin.com platform that allows anybody in any country to trade any amount of Bitcoin Cash with any payment method in any country with no KYC. China, I think it's surpassing every other country or every other currency zone in the world combined at this point. It's just really amazing the amount of volume we have over on Bitcoin.com of people in China using the local.bitcoin.com platform. And and they're used to it. They have their WeChat and their Alipay, and they're just going, there's a billion plus of them. So of course they're going to lead the way on just about anything they decide to adopt in mass.
And it's time for Troll of the Day, and today a closer look at the Sphere member who made self-promotion an integral part of his existence for better or worse. Now, we are not speaking about John McAfee this time around, rather about Justin Sun and that infamous lunch with Warren Buffett. Quick reminder, the Tron CEO made quite the deal out of his promised buffet with the Oracle from Omaha when he purchased the annual charity dinner with him to try and convince the father of all mainstream traders that crypto is legit. Business Insider has just released the eBay 2019 look back, and turns out Sun forked out the highest purchase on the platform last year, $4.6 million for that lunch, which, as we all remember, has never happened. And that's a whole lot of change to spare for absolutely nothing. That was Around the Block for today. Thank you for watching. For more blockchain tech and cryptocurrency news, visit us at blocktv.com.
For more news and updates, follow us on Twitter.